one because it's something that you've never heard before. I can about promise that. And it also has a tremendous application to many people's lives. Do you struggle with guilt? Do you struggle with shame? Do you struggle with a besetting sin? Do you struggle with your identity? Are you questioning your salvation? Are you having a hard time in that area? Well, this is for you, okay? Let's start with the book of Job. First, the book of Job, I believe, is the most ancient writing that we have in this collection of books called the Bible. And I think that the vast majority of it is garbage. I have an antenna that waves in my mind anytime I hear anybody read from or quote the book of Job. Why? Because in the book itself, it says that the vast majority of it is garbage, right? You have these 4 friends of Job that are giving him all kinds of terrible advice and all of that. So what you really need to do is pay attention to the very, very beginning and the very, very end, and you'll get everything that you need out of this book. Okay? And then at the end of this, I'm going to tie it back together with Romans. So let's get started. A lot of application. First off, at the beginning of the book, it says that Job was righteous. So question, was he righteous? Yeah, he was righteous. But then it describes his righteousness. And what was his righteousness? It was that he was always sacrificing for his own sins and also sacrificing for his 3 children in case they missed something that they weren't sacrificing for. That's a whole lot of sacrificing. And so this is the mindset that Job had. Man, you know the story where Satan says, or God actually says to Satan, he baits him. He baits Satan and says, hey, have you considered my servant Job over there? And then, you know, Satan's a lion on a leash, right? But God kind of takes the leash off and says, sick him, right? And so Satan just wrecks Job's life and he's left with nothing. He lost everything, right? And then he has these 3 friends and then a 4th who come to him and give him all kinds of terrible advice all the way through the book. That's why I just say skip the middle part, because it's all terrible advice. At the end of the book, almost the last verse, after God dresses down Job, Job says this, and here's the key to understanding. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes see you. Question, that's a before and an after. Before, did Job know God? No, he didn't.